Spooky Tuesday.
팀장님 어디쯤 오고 계세요? 진짜 미치겠네. 팀장님?
Hey guys, welcome back to Spooky Tuesday, a weekly podcast where we're breaking down all of our favorite slashers, thrillers, monster movies, and black comedies on the new scariest day of the week. I'm Sydney Thompson.
I'm Monica Height.
And I'm Chelsea Duff.
And this week we're doing a movie that every time I watch it, I realize I am more and more freaking obsessed with it. It is a beautiful 2016 film, and it is called Train to Busan. And as you can tell, I've seen this movie many, many times before. Okay, 3 times. But it's 2 hours long, so that's saying something. But the girlies had not seen it before, and I want to know, how did you feel?
I have so many feelings about zombies now. I have so many questions.
So many feelings beyond just blind hatred, because that's what I felt like the vibe was towards zombies on our podcast before. It was unspoken, but it was there.
No. Still hate the zombies. Hate them. I do not like zombies.
Fair.
But I got some questions about these zombies, especially these zombies.
Yeah, I like zombie stuff. In college, actually, my friends and I would get together every week and watch Walking Dead for years and years. And so I have long engaged with zombie lore. But there's so many different kinds of zombies, you know what I mean? And I tend to prefer a slow moving human-ish Walking Dead zombie as opposed to like a superhuman World War Z zombie. Where I felt like that was fucked up and not cool.
I didn't see World War Z. Was it good?
In my opinion, not worth a watch.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
But that also might be my personal zombie views bleeding in, because like, okay, zombies, generally speaking, to me, obviously, I choose to live in a world that I believe is not conducive to sustaining zombies. It can't be real here. That's what I choose to believe. But if I am suspending that belief for media engagement purposes, to me, it makes most sense to have zombies that have like the same abilities that they had when they were human, but they don't get tired. They don't feel pain. So like those things don't stop them. But if it's like they can run faster than a human ever could, and they're stronger than a human ever could be, to me, I'm like, well, now see, this is unfair, because like, how is anybody supposed to stand a chance? Yeah. So like this movie, the zombie lore in this movie, it shares a lot of things with zombie properties that I've seen otherwise. And then it has some things that seem kind of unique to it as far as I can tell. So in terms of like the zombiness of it, it seemed mostly fair game. Like people could outrun the zombies here. So it's not that they have like superhuman speed or anything. They don't seem to have superhuman strength. They seem to have normal strength. But one thing I did notice is that they seem to be able to like recombobulate themselves. Okay, so like the deer in the beginning is the first one we see with our own eyes, and it gets like hit by a car, and its like neck gets all snapped or broken or whatever, and then it kind of just like snaps itself all back into place. That seems to be, other than the existence of zombies at all, that seems to be like their main extra ability caveat. And
they're regenerative, and also they can do that thing where they all smoosh up together and create like a zombie wave, which happens
which
like
I
several
really
times during the film.
truly
I fucking
hated.
love the zombie
Hey,
wave.
no.
Are you kidding me?
No, I hated it in World War Z, where they could go so high as to like several 100 feet high walls of a city. If they amassed enough, they could go over that eventually. That, again, not fair. Walls should be able to keep zombies out. I just think like, well, what's the point of even trying to survive if they can work together collaboratively in such a way? First of all, this one, it felt less like collaborative working together and more like an explosion that was not controlled. And it felt like a crowd of people could actually do that if they had no common sense to stop them.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Before we get too deep into the zombie discussion of how they exist in the world of Train to Busan, I will just say the IMDb description of it. If you
Tell
haven't
people
noticed,
what we're talking about.
if you hadn't noticed so far, this is a zombie movie, but it's more than just a zombie movie. Okay. But anyway, this is what it says on IMDb. While a zombie virus breaks out in South Korea, passengers struggle to survive on the train to Seoul from Seoul to Busan. And yes, it's called Train to Busan. So pretty straightforward that we're going to be on a train to Busan.
That's actually just the English title, though. Does anybody remember? I looked up what the Korean title was, and then I can't find it right now. But it essentially just means like to Busan. So train is not in the Korean title. And then it's called like a whole bunch of different things in different languages, just like the way that movies get different names for different releases.
Totally. Yeah. And this movie, I think the reason I like this movie so much, because sorry that I said that the pod low-key hates zombies. It's just every time we've talked about zombie movies, we turn it down. Chelsea, I knew that you like zombies because we've talked about that Australian zombie show. What is that show called?
Gosh, I sure don't know off the top of my head. Australian zombie show, but it was sick. I loved it.
Glitch. Okay, that show was really good, and then it got so fucking bad that I had to stop. It got atrocious. But the first, I think, 2 seasons, straight money, honey. So definitely watch that. But yeah, so just Sydney's hatred of them and my very lukewarm feeling about them is what I overwrote you, and I'm sorry about that. I apologize.
Which is interesting because I have strong positive feelings for the most part. I love post-apocalyptic anything, and so I'm happy to engage with post-apocalyptic zombie lore, zombie world.
Although we have to do Sydney, 28 days later, then. Oh, sorry.
I haven't seen that one. So when I say I love, I mean in the limited exposure that I've had, I don't go out of my way necessarily. But because a lot of 28 days later is like fresh. It's the same kind of thing as Train to Busan, where it's like the very new. It's just happening now, the outbreak. Whereas what I thought was interesting about like 28 days later.
You haven't seen it.
It's not those 28 days.
No,
you're right. I haven't seen it. I should not.
You haven't seen it.
True. Yeah. That's so true.
You haven't seen it. That's not.
I love to lie.
I like this movie because I've seen so many movies where, okay, I've seen Shaun of the Dead. I haven't seen a lot of zombie movies because I don't like always like it, but I don't like the like slow moving brain zombie because I think it's pretty boring. But also I can understand how it's like an emotional, like it's same themes that are played on here, like emotional seeing like someone that you love turn into like a zombie brain eating thing. I couldn't stand The Walking Dead, so I think that's one of the main reasons.
Sure. I did go off the rails. I did have to quit.
I only watched a couple of episodes of it with my friends, and then I fell asleep and they watched it for 5 more hours, but my brain heard it all and hated it. Also, worst maze at Halloween Horror Nights, and it's there all the time. So
yes, can agree on that one.
Because that show's still going. Oh my God, give it up.
It's still going?
Yes.
Is the California one still going too?
I think so. And I honestly tried to watch that one for a minute because I love to stay in LA. But I think
LA fan.
Okay, in college my friends and I would watch Walking Dead and we would always be like, what's our zombie plan? And so I have like a rough idea
Classic
of
college
what my zombie
conversation.
plan. Classic college conversation. I have a rough idea of what my zombie plan or post-apocalyptic plan in general would be in Los Angeles. And I feel that I'm okay on resources, generally speaking. I'm not going to say them because I'm not going to put my resources at risk in the apocalypse.
No, it's
but
true. You don't want
also
a record of that.
yes, but also as we've possibly learned from this movie, rugged individualism, is that the way to go? Who can say? We'll discuss later. But oh yeah, I don't know. That one I think was like maybe not very good. I don't know. My brother watched it. Anyway, Last Man on Earth is a more interesting LA apocalyptic movie, but it does not have property. It doesn't have zombies, so it does have dead
I was
share.
gonna say Last Man on Earth is about zombies.
No. It's just that's my real preferred apocalypse because nobody's necessarily actively trying to kill you. But it is a pandemic, which is a little rougher to revisit now. The thing with zombies in 2021 is that there have been so many comparisons to zombie lore and like zombie media and zombie behavior after the COVID-19 outbreak began. And so I'm a little like, everybody shut up.
Bro, I read this
but
article. What article was it? By the News Minute. Oh, I just clicked on it and I closed it. So that's great.
No!
I started reading it though, and I was like, I can't fucking do this. I can't read the article that's like how the train to Busan is a parallel to COVID-19.
Okay.
I mean,
I get
okay.
it.
Yeah, I get it. It's a pandemic and a lot, but like,
but also like
it's
different. And we don't even need to. You guys get it. You have your own working brains in your heads. You can think about it yourself.
It's weird though, because like COVID-19 started with bats and so did this zombie virus. That's not true. Wouldn't that be crazy if they had
I was going to say, do we even know that either half of that is true?
People say that COVID started with something with a bat and then bats got a bad rap. And I was like, bats are amazing. Shut the fuck up. It's not.
And then bats were on like the 2020 quarter or something like that. Do you remember when everybody was like losing their mind over that? They're like, why did they choose a bat?
It's all by design.
I don't even know what you're talking about. Don't start any conspiracy theories about COVID-19 on this podcast.
It's already begun.
It's on
slide into our DMs to discuss.
Oh my God. Absolutely reject this.
Okay. I mean, there's so many different ways to talk about this movie. I guess we should set the scene.
Wait, did you do the IMDb logline? And
I did. It's very short.
I remember you were going to. I just didn't remember if we actually
did it. It just says like there's a zombie outbreak while some people are going from Seoul to Busan. Yeah.
Cool.
So, okay, I think one of the strongest points of this movie is that there's so much like emotionally going on in it, and also the setting. I don't know what other movie we covered on the pod recently where it had like a contained setting. Did we do one that was like that, where it all happened in a vacuum, or did I just watch another one on my own? Yes, that's what it was. Thank you. Autopsy of Jane Doe. I love that movie so much because they make it so scary inside the confines of one like coroner's office. And this movie
also a zombie movie.
In a way,
arguably.
Witch movie. See, but that's the different thing too. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. But another reason that I like this zombie movie compared to some other ones is like some zombies, aka Billy from Hocus Pocus, are like reincarnated through magic and the power of will or some shit like that. I like it better when it's a science experiment. So,
you like it more when it's rooted in the world that we exist in.
I just
as we know it.
For zombies, I like the like something went wrong at the factory kind of idea.
You like the human error aspect of it.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
Or it could be intentional too, where they're like, we're trying to bring people back to life, and then accidentally it
Our
make things real
hubris,
bad.
we had too much.
Yeah. But yeah, so back to what I was saying. Jane Doe, I think, really was so good because it was just in that tiny space and they made it so spooky. And same thing with the train. I mean, obviously they go outside of the train a few times, but just like a train station. I think it like really, I don't know, it like fuels the whole story in such an interesting way. So I just think it was a brilliant way to do it. And also trains are just a good setting for a movie.
So
I
what
love
I'm hearing you
trains.
say, what I'm hearing you say is that part of what you like about this movie is the claustrophobia of it, much like 47 meters down uncaged.
Oh my God. Fuck. Stop trying to make everything about 47 meters down uncaged.
This is a 47 meters down uncaged podcast. I'm not sure how you haven't picked up on it yet.
No, the thing is I'm a betch for trains. I'm a big betch for trains. I got the little train whistle back in my childhood bedroom. You go choo choo. I had a little train conductor hat. Adam,
How did
very
it go?
into
Can you do it
trains
again
as
for me?
well. Choo choo. Also, I've seen Snowpiercer, which is also a train movie. Very fucked up. Very fucked up. I haven't seen Murder on the Orient Express, but it exists and people like that. So
Train
that's
movie.
a movie. Train movie. There's, like,
Thomas the Tank Engine train movie.
Thomas. How could I
train.
forget? Thomas.
I'm sure they have a what's the name? Could you say?
What's happening? Are you okay?
Someone help me.
Hollywood.
It's the November transition from Halloween to holidays, and I was caught in the pronunciation in between Halloween and
Limbo.
holiday, and I
Oh.
couldn't
November.
quite. I couldn't. We can't go backwards. We can only go forwards. You know
It's
what I
a
mean?
hard time. I get it. The fallout after Halloween and everyone's like Christmas, and I'm like, you shut the fuck up. I'm in mourning, so I get
I'm
it.
struggling. Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
That's where
Um,
I'm in spooky Christmas now at this point. So
Just
Spooky
watch
Christmas.
Nightmare
Hell
Before
yeah.
Christmas every day.
we're in spooky Christmas.
But anyway, this movie's set on a train. That's what we were trying to say. In case you didn't get that yet. But it starts out with our main character. And so we did some research beforehand to make sure that we did our best to do pronunciation of these names, because something that we have not said yet on this podcast episode is that this is our first Korean language film that we've covered on the pod. So
it's our first foreign film total.
yeah, true. It's
Yeah.
our first foreign film. And so we did our due diligence. But again, have you ever heard us say any like English name correctly? No.
No.
We've done
We
it wrong.
started really strong with
Neve Campbell.
No.
Yeah, okay, yes. And
Neve
it's Nev
Campbell.
is the correct.
It's
what
Nev
you're
is the
communicating?
correct.
Okay, honestly, can't tell anymore, and I don't know. Because
Remember-
now I'm always go, I'm wrong. So whatever I'm thinking in that moment, now I'm no longer confident in saying it.
Remember when I tried to say I still can't say Gidget from the roommate, and then I
We'll
just said
never
Cam
know.
redacted the whole rest of the
Apologies to
time.
that man.
The other day, someone said his name in front of me, and it was literally not even remotely close to Gidget. Let me tell
No,
you.
I absolutely know that you're wrong.
Oh no, yeah. I
Can
know
I
that
tell
I'm
you
wrong.
what's right? I could try.
It's like French or some shit. It's like a beautiful last name, and like it's not all consonants like how I'm making it. But anyway, we keep it redacted. But okay, this movie, it is about a person that we lovingly referred to as Economy Daddy. Um, his character's name is Sukwu, and he is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful man who is stunning, and we're all in love with him. But his character is a douchebag. Fund manager. Is that
Hedge.
Hedge
He's like
fund.
a hedge fund manager.
He's a hedge fund manager and an absentee father and a divorcee.
They're
and
still married.
Oh, I thought they got
'Cause
divorced. Are they
They're
separated?
But
Yeah.
his mom is like, you should
Oh.
fight for your marriage.
You need to fight for your wife. Blah 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 blah. So they are separated.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So he is a soon to be divorcee. And he is the daddy of the most beautiful baby girl in the entire world, and her name is Suan. Is that pronunciation that we looked up? Suan.
Yeah.
And so the beginning of the film is just basically a bunch of different ways for you to realize that Suku is such a dick and he doesn't pay attention to anything. He misses his daughter's recital.
And then he lectures her in the car and is
Unacceptable.
like, wow, you didn't even finish. You should always finish everything you start. And it's like, do you really have space to be talking right now, Mr.
Yeah.
Mean Economy Dad? Like, shut up.
He is such a dick. And Suan is like, I
He got
couldn't
her
sing
a
the
Wii
song because you
after he
weren't
already-
there.
Yes.
Like, I was looking for you and you weren't there, so I couldn't do it. And then he's
Crushed
like,
my
I'm
soul.
always watching you, even if I'm not there. Shut the
Ew.
fuck up. No, you're not.
That's just creepy.
Which, like, is a nice thing to say at the end of the movie, perhaps, but just a shitty thing to say in the beginning, because it's a little surveillance state-y, being like, you have to always finish what you started. Even if I didn't bother to show up for your performance, how dare you quit midway through, blah, blah, blah. It's 5 a.m. It's still dark out. We're in the car. I'm lecturing you on
And
your
it's her
birthday.
fucking birthday. It's her freaking birthday.
And he didn't even
Another
get her a
Ali
good
and
present.
AJ reference.
Oh,
Yeah, he gives her a shit present. He gives her a Wii that he already gave her that year
Children's
for
Day.
Daughter's Day. Also, why doesn't Daughter's Day exist in the United States? Because it should.
Okay, they have International Daughters Day, but we just don't get gifts, and I think we should change
Bull.
that.
Wait, did your
Bullshit.
subtitle say Daughter's Day?
Yep.
Yeah.
My
It's Daughter's
subtitle
Day.
said Children's Day. Oh my God. What is the truth?
What is the truth?
Children's
Either way,
Day.
she is a child and she already had that gift. So he's being a shitty dad. One of my
Children's
favorite
Day is a
things,
holiday in South Korea. Cool.
so one of the things that I love about this movie also is that
Mhm.
throughout the film, people just absolutely read
Oh
the
my
riot
God.
act. Riot act. They like read him his beads like 20,000 different ways. And his daughter does, his mom does.
Pregnancy dad does. What's
Buff
his real name?
husband, aka pregnancy dad, Senghua does. That's his name. And he deserves it because he fucking sucks. He really is not good at things. But I really, 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 really liked the beginning of this movie. Not just the deer part, though I did like the deer part. I just liked how they introduced that shit was starting to hit the fan. Because
Mhm.
basically the idea is like we learn like that economy daddy and Suan are gonna go on a train to Busan because Busan is where the mommy lives. Suan's mommy. And that's all she wants for her birthday is to see her mommy because she fucking can't stand her daddy because he sucks so bad.
Yeah,
you
she's
know?
like, can you just put me on a train to mom? You don't even have to come with. She literally says, I won't waste your time, which is like,
Was so heartbreaking.
She's like
Yes.
7 years old.
and she's like hiding under the blanket to talk to her mom because like being with her dad is so intolerable to her because she's like, he's not here. He doesn't pay any attention to me. I'm just with Granny. And she clearly like loves her Granny. And we know that. But also her Granny is like, she just wants to be with her mom. Like she's miserable.
Yeah. But the way they unfurl the story is so awesome. Like they're driving to the train, economy daddy and Suan, and like they almost
Wait.
crash into a what's it called?
Fire
An
truck.
fire truck rushing by. And that's like a point of anxiety. What were you gonna say, Chelsea?
There's that whole bit in the beginning too, though, other than the deer, but the guy in the car or in the truck who's driving who hits the deer, there's like a whole checkpoint that they're driving through that really sets up the circumstances, if you will, the potential causes as far as we know them, which is some sort of biological leak. And this has happened before, obviously not in quite this way, but the driver is like, ugh, do you guys have another biological leak? Like, why are you hosing down my whole truck? Like last time there was a leak, I had to kill all of my pigs, or it killed all of my pigs. So like, can you guys fuck off? And they basically are like, it's fine. Don't even worry about it. And then we see the deer, so obviously we know that it's not fine.
It was not fine.
Yeah. And then we've got all that business where the dad is at work before he goes home. And perhaps this stood out to me for a different media reason. But not only are they like selling all of their stocks, and economy dad, what's his real name? Sukwoo, or Sukwoo. He's on the phone and he's being like, are you sure we want to sell everything? What if these are false reports? Blah blah blah. So like even then he's being like, I don't know, guys. And then you see him like looking at news on his computer, and there's like a weird story about dead fish, and that stood out to me because recently I read what I think was maybe a Twitter thread about Yahoo News and the way that they at some point in time were writing stories based off what was getting the most clicks, and they discovered for some reason fish news was getting like an insane amount of clicks. So like every Friday they would just like go searching for the latest fish news to write up into an article for Yahoo News. Then they would call it like Fish Fridays. And
that's hilarious.
I am part of that fish demographic, and so I would read it. It works on me. I am one of the people they were targeting.
But yeah, so they're like dropping in these little crumbs being like, oh, you know, classic biological leak at the whatever. And, oh, all these fish are dying. Obviously, we see the deer. But you don't know how fast it's gonna go until we're at the part with the train.
Totally. And like you start getting the creeping sense of anxiety as they're driving over. You can like
With
see
the
the smoke,
ash?
and yeah, you can the smoke, and there's like a fire in the distance where ash is coming down. And so they're just like, oh, weird, there's a terrible fire. Let's keep going to the train station, which honestly like is a saving grace that they're on like this like what's
Train
the
to
word?
Busan.
On this train to Busan. Yeah. I was going to try to make some sort of like smart sounding analogy, but let's not go there even.
They've begun their journey already.
On the train to Busan. But I just like when the infected girl gets onto the train, once all of our main players are on the train, that second, it's like literally the conductor person is like looking around that completely empty train terminal. He looks one direction, and at that exact second is when the person who's about to turn into a full zom runs past, and it's just like full zom, gonna go full zom on him. And it's just like that half second of looking the wrong way causes everything that happens on the train, and I just think that that's just so like
fired.
But also, like, did it cause everything that happened on the train? Like, obviously, okay. Well, actually, this is maybe a moment to discuss this. I don't know. Again, it seems like our subtitles were a little different, and I don't know how accurate the subtitles were on Prime when I watched it. But there's one moment where everybody's like checking their phone, and it looks like they're looking at sort of like a Twitter adjacent platform, and it says like hot keyword zombie in the subtitles. Obviously it didn't like translate the whole page for me, but so it seems like, okay, in Walking Dead they like call them walkers or whatever. There's plenty of zombie media where they come up with some weird name for them because it seems like the idea of zombies don't exist already in that world, but they do exist in this world. Maybe do we think that?
I think that
call them zombies.
Yeah, I think it's like the concept of zombies existed already. I think this exists like in like our world, right? So like the concept of zombies exists because one of the main important parts of this movie is like movie is about like what like the themes and corruption in South Korea. Like it's all the things that happen are like representational of things going on actually socially in South Korea. And so like I think of it like it was happening like in the real world. Like zombies are a thing that people know about that aren't real, but now there's been this like chemical spill and the worst possible thing, or chemical spill, whatever it was, some sort of seepage. And now it's happening in real life, some version of it.
Okay, so to get back to what you were saying, then I guess my question is, do we think if the conductor had noticed her that he would have made the assumption that she was a dangerous person getting on the train, or do we think he would have assumed that she was in danger getting on the train?
Does he check the tickets on the of people who get on the train? Or I don't know. He might have seen that she was injured. I mean that wasn't my point with it. I just think that
okay.
like I that's not my point. Like he fucked it up and it's all his fault. That's not what I'm saying. It's just
No,
like
I didn't think so. I
like
just thought
no
you
one
meant like,
noticed her get on the train, and so it's I
Mhm.
just loved the way that it was shot. It was beautifully shot. And then like immediately afterwards the train is pulling out of the station. You know that something fucked up is happening like to that person who's on the train, so you feel that sort of anxiety. And then like there's that moment where the train starts picking up speed and you see that person who was staying out on the station just get bowled down by
Oof.
someone running, and it's just like so quick.
So quick.
So
An
quick.
economy
It's
dad
just-
is already asleep. He fell
He's
asleep in
already
1
asleep.
second. Oh my
Oh.
god.
I was like, why are you so sleepy?
Yeah,
Why
and
are you
it's
so
like,
tired? You're not exhausted from being a present father. So what's exhausting you so much?
I
They
don't
took an
know.
early train.
Yes, but I don't know how it works in South Korea because I have never been, and I certainly have never lived there and had an economy dad there. But I've had an economy dad here, and he sometimes had to go to work super early because the markets opened super early on the East Coast. I guess maybe that's the difference because different time zones. But I just assume that economy dads and other economy ladies and gentlemen and non-binary people have to wake up early. They're used to waking up at 5 a.m. That is a normal economy practice to me. Do you think that probably doesn't hold true in South Korea as I'm saying it out loud?
I just
I feel like that might be West Coast specific.
I don't know. He just fell asleep, man. He just fucking fell asleep, man.
He's just a good sleeper. All right.
He's
Well,
just a good sleeper.
I guess I'm satisfied.
But shit just hits the fan so fast, and it's just I like how quickly the zombie virus spreads in this, because it's just like this unstoppable force, and it's so anxiety producing. Like I wouldn't say that I was scared during this movie, but I was more like fucking freaking out the whole time, because there's just so many scary things.
Okay. Speaking of spread of the virus,
Mhm.
this is where I had a lot of questions.
Yes.
Because
Mhm.
the time it takes for a person to get infected is inconsistent
Agreed.
in this movie. Like the first girl who like runs on the train, like it seems like it takes her like a couple minutes. Then like sure, she was doing like a leg tourniquet, but like is that really going to help at all, like if you've been bit? There was like one person who after they've been bit, like mid-turn, full zombie. Like I mean seconds. Like do you think it has something to do with like metabolism or something?
That was
like is
one of my
each
guesses.
person like
I think it's
affected
also
differently?
position. I think it's like where you were bit, because I thought about that too. But I think the people who got bit like on the neck, I think if it's closer to like your central system where all your heart and your lungs and your brain and all that shit, then it happens like really fast. But
and
like,
the girl on the train, it was on her thigh, so like near her femoral artery. Versus like somebody on the hand later, that's going to take a lot longer to work its way into your bloodstream and be pumped into the rest of your body.
Totally, yeah. So the first girl on the train, it's like on her leg, but it's like on her leg. It's not like on her torso. So it takes her a little bit of time. But then like there's some later on in the film where it takes a preposterous amount of time, and we will get to that. But those were both on the hand, so that maybe makes a little bit more sense. And also, yeah, all of the ones that took like a really, really, really long time, I realized were all like on the hand, like as far from the central nervous system as possible. But additionally,
the foot would be further. And wouldn't that be interesting to see someone clap their foot over a zombie's mouth?
A zombie with a foot fetish.
Yeah. Oh my god. don't make me make another Quentin Tarantino joke because I will every time. Every single time, baby. I'm reliable that way. Anyway. One thing I thought was super interesting though about that first girl, obviously we see her get on the train. We see Economy Dad fall asleep. Suwon is going to the bathroom. Oh, first of all, this is a side note, and then I'm going to get to my main point. But when she goes to pregnancy dad, what is his name? Songhwa. And he says there's two people pissing in the bathroom. I swear to God, I thought that this was Mile High for Trains. You know what I mean? I thought there was two people fucking in that bathroom. I thought for sure. And that's why he was being like kind of funny about it. And also that was after what I'm trying to say. So now let me back up again. But I called him the business bitch because he's a bitch. But what is his real name? Yon
Oh, you
Suk?
mean actual Satan?
Oh, yes. We have
Actual
his
Satan.
nickname in our notes, Business Bastard. Yeah. The names were so hard to remember this movie because, like, obviously it's not standing out to my ears amid all the other dialogue that I'm listening to for tone, but not trying to break down particular words. And also nobody knows each other. So they're not saying each other's names. Like,
Yeah, they don't
ever.
say their name that often.
Yeah, and also like it's Korean, so it's like completely different like sentence structure than, so it's not like you're reading the subtitle and it's going to be a word for word translation.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I learned all the names from IMDb.
I didn't even know some of these characters had names. And I actually think the guy that I'm about to talk about maybe didn't, because I looked on IMDb. Yeah, he's just listed on IMDb as homeless man. They called him the odd man in the subtitles, at least on my version. But the business bitch, when Suwon is looking for the bathroom, is like telling the conductor, like, oh, I think there's an odd man who got on the train. First of all, I thought he was talking about the zombie girl. And I was like, wow, of course he thinks it's a man that's in the bathroom. This is sexism at work. And then I was like, JK, can you imagine? And then he really was talking about an odd man, quote unquote. But she goes to that bathroom, and he says one of the things that I hate most in the world that people say.
Oh,
yeah, just the absolute douchebaggiest sentence possibly in the entire world. And what he says is about oh wait, oh my God, we forgot all of the other entrances. Sorry, I'm trying to do too much in one moment. Because I also loved the baseball kids getting on the train and the girl going to sit with the boys, and then the mom being like, ooh, and she's like, I like you, get over it. And he's like, oh, I won't. And she's like, that's your fate.
When she walked onto the train, I was like, damn, Jinhee is that bitch. That's what I wrote in my notes.
Truly, yes. And
that
then
bitch.
she says, and I quote, if I tell you I like you, just say thank you, it's your fate. And then all the boys, per my subtitles at least, chant, accept her, accept her, accept her. And I was like, dudes rock. But what the business bitch says about the odd man in the bathroom and the conductor possibly trying to explore this odd man who doesn't belong on the train, like, fuck off, first of all. But he says, hey, kiddo, if you don't study, you'll end up like him. And then she says, because she's a bad baby bitch, mom said whoever says that is a bad person. And I was like, hell fucking yeah. Because I've always hated that phrase. Mom is absolutely an incredible person, and I hope she's out there. I hope she's alive. Out there. She might be.
She's probably not.
No, in my heart, stop.
She's not.
She's definitely not.
She's definitely not.
We don't know that.
She's dead.
Stop whispering things at me. I can't hear you, and I won't respond. But what I liked is that already off the bat, they were sort of setting us up for with the business bitch being like, somebody odd is in the bathroom that doesn't belong here. I felt like it was clearly setting us up to think that it was the zombie girl, and then it was like this whole other person who is potentially just unsheltered, unhoused, and like that's why Business Bitch is being like, how dare this person come onto my business train? They don't belong. And I felt like that especially was kind of the setup for the class dynamics that we see at play, because like this movie is, and like a lot of South Korean horror these days, is very much like a commentary on capitalism, but it's at such an individual level without really talking about their place in society as a whole under normal circumstances, the way that like say Squid Game was doing, where Squid Game was very specifically like, being in the games is literally better than normal world as we know it. This is not like a comparison to normal world. It was like, how does this play into the problem?
Yeah.
And so it was like the class differences in those moments of like, who has the power to command a room, and who has the power to be listened to, and who has the power to tell people what to do and be obeyed, essentially. Who has the power to point at somebody else and say, you don't belong, and be listened to. And I thought that was like a really great first example that they almost like set us up to agree with this guy by thinking it was going to be the zombie girl, who we obviously already know and can identify as a threat. And then it was just like some dude.
Yeah, no, it's really, really interesting because there's like a lot of comparison to what happens here to like just like the socioeconomic divides of South Korea, which are really, really stark. And it's like really hard to like move outside of like what like socioeconomic level you are born into, you know?
Like America. You guys
Yeah,
know about
like America, you know? But
you guys
it's
have
like
heard of America
apparently from
before.
the articles that I've read,
Yeah,
it's like
I don't know her.
it's very difficult in South Korea. And also I think this movie like super like resonated with people in South Korea because it was like the most viewed film, like not ever, but like 11.5 million people saw it the summer that it came out. Like something outrageous. That's just in South Korea. But it's really, really interesting because in all these articles that I read, it talks about how evil devil business bastard, aka Suk, is his character's so interesting because you see how he progresses. He starts out as a dick. He stays being a dick the entire fucking movie.
He
gets worse and worse and worse. Like beyond the
Economy
worst
Dad
that you
gets
can.
better. This guy gets worse.
Yes, and that's something I also read. It's like how they like both kind of start as like similarly like look out for yourself, look out for number one only, and then like economy dad starts to like grow a conscience and grow morality and realize that it's better to work together with people, and fucking business bastard does not. But one of the really interesting things that I read is that business bastard like he like starts commanding people throughout the film, and they fucking listen to him and they do what he says. He just like
because he's wearing a suit.
He's wearing a suit and everybody does what he says. I guess that's all it fucking takes. But no, it's like a commentary on like apparently in South Korea the media and like the government, it can be like easily swayed by corporations because they have so much power. And there's
America.
yeah,
Right.
but there's some like really fucked up examples. For one of them being, I think this was in 2014. There was this ferry in South Korea that was overturned and it killed 300 people, most of which were like teens and
I
school
remember
children.
this.
Yeah. Well, when that first happened, because it was a bad look for the corporation who runs the ferries, the media reported that everyone survived. In reality, what happened is all of the passengers died, and the crew and the captain took the safety boats and left in them themselves and left everyone to fucking die. And one of the reasons that this ferry overturned and that it had this failure is because they were overcrowding the ferries, having way too many people on it so they could make more money. But it was a bad look for the corporation, so they were able to literally cover it all up at first in the media. They had that much power over the media. And things like that have happened multiple other times too. So it's like he has this ability to like sway the people around him, and it's supposed to be like a commentary on that, which I thought was really interesting.
It's just like clear from the way that he presents himself that he is a person of power within this
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, that sounds very Titanic. It sounds very like the way that reporting in the media in America is being discussed today, especially around the police, where the media will often take like the police reporting on something at face value, at least at first, and be like, here are the facts, our source is just what the police said it was, and then it's only as like further reporting cites other sources that it goes, oh yeah, police can lie. And sometimes they're presenting their narrative or they're covering their ass or whatever. But I don't know things. So I don't have information to back this up, but I was on Tumblr the other day, and I saw a post that I have yet to engage with particularly further, but it was saying kind of in the wake of Squid Game and Parasite and all that stuff being so popular, and Americans being like, wow, that's fucked up, that it's not just that we're dealing with like very similar issues, but also that America and like American imperialism contributed hugely to this being the way that things are and the way that they stand in South Korea, especially with America being like, communism is the worst thing in the world, and so we must prop up these other countries in the way that we would like them to be, etc., etc. So I don't know any more than that, but possibly should Google at some point, and perhaps I
It's
will.
like people watching this
I
stuff
love
and
to
being
read
like,
one
wow,
headline.
that's so terrible. And it's just like, honey, look in the mirror. America, look in the mirror.
America.
It is not a unique problem by any means. Yeah.
Yeah. But okay, I think that this movie like really, really gets extra fucking insane when they make their first stop. I know there's a lot of stuff that happens in between then and now. And I also feel like annoyed because I wish that the subtitles also did translation of all the texts that we see.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
it doesn't, and I feel like I missed out on so much nuance in the movie. Like when they show the television screen, because like in some of the articles that I read, it said that like, oh, and you can see that the media is being manipulated in the movie, and I was like, well, I can't see it because I can't read.
We do
but I
get
feel
that
like that's
press
something we miss.
conference. Do you know the one that I'm talking about?
I remember it, but I don't remember what happens at that part.
I wrote down the whole quote because I was like, well,
I know some of it was like, trust your government. They're here to help you. Blah,
oh yeah,
blah, blah.
yeah. And I was like, okay, all right.
Like, ooh,
Bro,
are they?
That is exactly another thing that this article from NPR I read said. Last year, MERS spread in South Korea. Actually, I'm not sure if this was last year. Okay, a year after before the article was written.
MERS?
MERS. MERS.
Do people say it not as the letters?
No,
like
it's
I don't know,
SARS.
Chelsea. I don't know.
I don't know what you're
MERS.
looking at, I guess, also. But it's like an acronym, I'm assuming.
MERS spread in South Korea, and the government didn't disclose key information about where patients were being treated and how officials would contain the outbreak. Instead, they just demanded that people trust them. So that's literally exactly what you're saying happened in that part of Train to Busan. So
yeah, and here's the full
direct
quote.
parallel.
At least per my subtitles, it might be a little different for everybody, but mine said, my fellow citizens, violent riots have broken out in a number of our major cities. So they're calling them riots, first of all, which is just felt particularly bad with the way that we've seen riots being reported on and things being called riots unfairly in America. So that in particular stood out to me right off the bat, but that they'd be like, these are violent people who are being terrible and bad people. Anyway, but my fellow citizens, violent riots have broken out in a number of our major cities, resulting in multiple civilian and police injuries. These riots have led us to shut down a number of key districts in an effort to subdue those attempting to destroy or take over government property. For this reason, we're declaring a state of emergency in order to stabilize and control the current situation, blah, blah, blah. Thanks to our government's rapid response, a number of outbreaks are being contained. Not true. Fellow citizens, please refrain from reacting to baseless rumors and stay in the safety of your homes. We must stay calm and trust our government as we all work together in facing this current crisis. To the best of our knowledge, your safety is not in jeopardy. And this is like intercut with the footage of the like literally it's like YouTube footage within the movie that they're showing us, like some characters watching it or it's part of the news playing or something, but of helicopters flying over in this moment a parking lot, and then there's zombies literally dropping from the helicopters, whether they were people on the helicopters, people trying to get on the helicopters, zombies trying to get on the helicopters, but falling from the helicopters. They're zombies at this point. However, they started when they first made contact with the helicopters. Who's to say? But at this point, they're now zombies falling to the ground and immediately getting up and attacking the people around them. So they're being like, you're safe. This is not an issue. These are just crazy people, but it's being contained. Blah, blah, blah. They're just trying to take over government property. Like they're framing it as an uprising almost.
Yeah. It's just bullshit.
Right. And the grannies talk about it. They say, one of the grannies says like, oh, if this happened back in the day, these people would be re-educated, which I think probably has some sort of historical significance that I'm not familiar with to that line. And then the other granny's like, don't say that. But I thought that was so interesting in particular because being like, oh, this is an uprising. Oh, these people are terrible. They're trying to take over government property further kind of leans into the narrative of like the government is the only source that you can trust right now. And it's the government versus this other thing, and so unless you're on that other thing's side, you have to be on the government side, and they kind of frame it as this like this binary choice, which obviously it's a lot more complicated than that.
Totally. And then I think like when they get to that first train stop, that really shows that like the government isn't going to help you, because like the whole idea was that business daddy thought he found some secret way from him and Soo-on to get out without helping anybody else. They're going to have his special friend help them get out at the train station, go to a separate place than everyone else. And then everybody else was like being herded down to where the military was going to take them into quarantine, which would have sucked. So they think that they're going to be safe because they're going to be with these government. Like, I mean, like the army is a arm of the government, right?
Government.
Well, guess what, motherfuckers? They're all fucking zombies. So it's just like, no, the government can't help you. They're all zombies already. You're fucked.
But actually, one thing that's interesting to your point earlier about that like relationship between the media and corporations is I'm pretty sure the guy that Economy Dad was talking to on the phone was a reporter, because he said something like, I'll give you a really good scoop later. And as we all know, scoop is journalism lingo, baby. So he's saying like, I'll give you a good story later, probably about them like shorting the stocks in the beginning, because he is boldly assuming that there will be an economy to return to. But he says like, I'll give you a really good story, essentially. So again, that kind of shows like the different relationship that exists between this man as a representation of a corporation and his different access that he has and the different privilege he is afforded because of that position.
Totally. I mean, I just love the moment in the train station, their first stop, where the whole group, everybody from the train is going down the escalator and they get to the bottom. And this is where you first start to realize also like how the zombies work, that when they don't see a human, I guess they can like sense when there's like something that they can turn around them. They just stand around like fucking livestock. or like fucking turkeys in the rain. Apparently turkeys in the rain just look up at the sky and they can drown. So that's
They
kind of like
can.
the vibe I was getting from the zombies. They're just standing there like staring up at the sun, and then like all of a sudden the people start coming down the elevator and it's just like boom, it's over, bitch. I just thought
Okay.
that was also so awesomely shot.
But that's now this is the week before Thanksgiving, baby, and they stand around like turkey.
Wow. Oh
Wow.
my God. It's almost
The
like we're ready for our
parallels.
Thanksgiving episode next
The
week.
Through lines.
Setting up
But-
a through line in advance. Is it really a through line?
Yes.
It's an illusion.
It's an
It's a
illusion.
reference. It's a clear reference.
It's a clear reference to the fact that it's Thanksgiving next week. But yeah, I feel like this scene, this whole part of the movie shows like how they have to, this is where business daddy, economy daddy learns that like altruism and helping the better other man like is what saves the day, because the only reason that he makes it out of alive, the only reason his daughter makes it out alive out of this train station is because of the other people around him being caring. It's because the pregnant mom saves his daughter when a zombie's about to eat them. He only survives because the odd man or the unhoused individual, assuming when he's unhoused. Also, I read somewhere that he like is suffering from PTSD, and I was like, I don't know what the context is there.
Well, that makes sense because he just keeps seeing like everybody is dead, everyone is dead. But
He's
I'm
like murmuring
assuming,
to himself.
yeah, I mean, I am no diagnostician. Is that a word?
It is now.
I don't. It sure is. I think it actually might be a real word. But for post-traumatic stress, it has to be post-traumatic. And so I would argue PTSD is a little preemptive because it seems he's reacting to the zombies.
I'm not saying.
Oh, you're saying
it's It's not saying that he has it from the zombies. That like he already had it. That's what I read somewhere. I don't know where though.
Huh.
I can't tell you. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, interesting idea.
Interesting. But yeah, the only reason that business daddy, economy daddy survives is because the odd man puts his jacket over the zombie's head who's attacking him. So it's like they all
Yeah,
I thought that was so
zombies
funny.
apparently go blind. Like if they can't see you, like
If it's
what?
dark, they're just
They can't
like,
see you. They're like, what? Oh my
Yeah.
God. Okay. Zombies.
I like the
I did
rules
think-
of these zombies. It adds for some dramatic tension once they get back on the train.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's always interesting to see the way that people within different zombie lores try to evade zombies. Like the Walking Dead zombies are super like smell based. Like in one of the first few episodes, Glenn covers himself in essentially rotting body parts and blood and stuff like that, and he's pretty much able to walk through the zombie hordes because they don't recognize him as like a prey essentially.
Yeah.
They're like one of us. And then in this movie, it literally has to be like on site specifically, like it's something on IMDb trivia, I think, suggested that it's almost even like movement based. Because if they kind of see like shadowy figures, they don't seem to react to that in particular. They seem to really react to the movement of people around them. Although I think that's a little bit up for debate. But yeah, if you newspaper over a window, all of a sudden they immediately forget that anything is on the other side of it. If you use the fire extinguisher to like put the foam over the glass, they can't see what's on the other side of it. And they kind of just go back to wandering around, kind of just staying still for the most part. When they're going through the tunnels and it's dark, you know what I mean? Like it's very visual for them specifically, and they kind of follow sound when they can't see anything, but they don't seem to necessarily react to sound too much when they can see things. So it's interesting, but I like that they had such a big blind spot because God, we sure did need them to have something.
They can't be better all the time. I'm sorry. That's something with zombies. I'm just like, you can't win all the time. You gotta have issues. Like you got to be slow. You could be fast, but I got you. You got to be real stupid. Like I need something.
Yeah, I thought I can't remember. Is that actually the first train stop though? Like that's when they try to get off and they say like the military is there to protect you at that station. They do pull into a previous station, and that's like part of the beginning of the debate of do you help others or do you save yourself? Because at that point economy dad had taken Suan into the other train station. Like pregnancy dad had helped them like rush in and had saved them essentially. And then economy dad was gonna like close the door on that couple. And then they were like, fuck you, blah, blah, blah. And then at some point, like they come back in and then they pull into one of the train stations. And there's kind of this moment of like debate. Should they let people on the station, on the platform, onto the train or not? And then thankfully the movie doesn't really give you much time to consider it, because then immediately all of those people are attacked. And it's like, well, now it's too late for them. So we're saved having to make that decision. But that's really when things start to get introduced.
So after all of our friends realize that teamwork does in fact make the dream work, they really start putting that into practice on the train after they leave that hellish station. Because basically all of our fun friends get separated due to some zombie antics. And so they want to get all back together. Like business dad is separated from Suan. Suan is with beautiful pregnant mommy. We're just only going by nicknames now, I guess. And basically like all of our boys are together. We've got business dad, we've got buff husband, we've got cutie baby baseball boy. Oh my god, he is so cute. I have a huge crush on him. Anyway, and we also have the odd man. Poor guy. I really wish that they had given him a fucking name.
Yeah. He's very bloody stranger from The Purge. You know what I mean?
Totally. I'm like, he deserved to have a name, friends. Okay. But yeah, they really start to work together, you know, to achieve their goals, because like at the end of the fucking day, like not altruism isn't the right word, but like helping your fellow man is like should be your number one goal, because the second you don't help your fellow man, well, guess what, buddy? He ain't a man anymore. He's a zombie, and therefore your enemy. And so like not like only prioritizing yourself is actually putting yourself in more danger. So if you're trying to keep yourself alive, you should probably keep these other people alive too. Oh, it's so
and I mean,
frustrating.
like, that's very literal in this movie, and we see that happen many times. And I'm gonna skip ahead for a moment. Just R.I.P. our lovely little baseball couple. What are their names? Yonggu and
Younggu.
It's Ginhee. What did you
say?
We
will not be overlooking the baseball couple. We will not be overlooking their deaths.
No. But I'm not there yet. I'm just saying, business bitch literally yeets sweet little baseball girl Ginhee into the zombies, and then 1 second later she's like, hi bitch, I'm a zombie now. You know what I mean? Like everyone that you explicitly sacrifice to save yourself is gonna come for you approximately 1 second later, in the same way that like this is not the perfect metaphor, because this is not about zombies, and also not about murder, but in the same way that economically, when we're talking about like capitalism and stuff like that, like it is more expensive to wait for things to become a problem after the fact than it is to prevent the problem in the first place, but it takes more effort up front. So like, is it harder to save the people around you while there's still people? Sure. It's easier to save yourself than it is to save 5 people. But guess what? If you don't save those 4 other people, now you've got 4 additional zombies in addition to all the other zombies that were there 1 second ago.
And how many zombies are those 4 zombies going to make? 14,000 billion more. Like
Too many
one
zombies.
It
can
happened so
turn,
fast here.
15 people in 5 minutes. Like that,
Mhm.
it's just like it's an exponential growth problem.
Yes.
And so
I
I
love to
don't
do math.
think you'd think that business bitch, business bastard Jan Suk would understand something like that, a macro problem like that, being a big thinker, but obviously he does not. So maybe he's not so good of a business bastard as he thinks he is. He's good
Well,
at being
the
a
issue is that
bastard,
They
but
don't care. They don't
No?
care. They know they don't care. They're like, that's not my problem. That's somebody else's problem. What he doesn't realize is that when you shrink the metaphor down to this micro level, it absolutely is now immediately your problem.
it became
So, like,
his
it would have
problem
been your
so
problem
quick.
eventually. Yeah. But now it's your problem in 2 seconds. So sorry, bud, but we're dealing with this now.
Totally.
But before we get away from this moment, back to what we were saying, I know that you guys wanted to talk about the baseball couple in particular, and I don't want you to lose that
No, because
opportunity.
it's very important. So I was watching this movie and I made Ryan watch it on Zoom because I hate zombie movies. And in this moment, when I saw
You needed a buddy.
the couple and she gets bit by a zombie and he's like holding her in his arms, like crying, like,
Sweet.
how could this happen? I look at Ryan and I'm like, Ryan, if I got bit by a zombie, would you sit there and like wait for me to turn and then also let me turn you into a zombie so we could be zombies together? And he was like, yeah, no, dog, I'm gonna have to like let you go on that one. He's like, I'd maybe like try and saw off your arm so it didn't get to like the virus didn't spread, but like I'm not going in on that. And so, Monica, I need Adam.
Oh,
Adam.
and here he is.
I need
Here he
Adam
is.
to answer this question. Adam, can you hear me?
Here,
I
yes.
can hear you.
If Monica got bit by a zombie, would you hold her in your arms while she turned into a zombie and then let her bite you so you two could be zombies together? Monica, do not tell him.
Yeah, she just whispered in his ear. She's influencing the vote.
I didn't whisper in his ear.
Oh.
I bit his neck. That's what I did.
Oh my God. All right.
Would you lay your life down?
It's hard to say. I like Monica a lot, but I've
Just
seen her
likes
do a
me.
lot of gross things. So like turning into a zombie wouldn't be that big a deal.
It'd be like pretty
Right.
par for the course.
But
Fuck.
at the end of the day, I gotta look out for number one. So she's off the train.
Wow.
Wow.
That's disappointing to hear, Adam, to say the least. And I will keep that in mind when
I
Oh,
think
here's the thing. I told Ryan,
Okay.
I was like, I as a zombie will hunt you down and find you. You will never be
Oh
able
my
to
God.
escape me.
Well, not if it's dark out, Sydney. So get over it.
as
But
soon as the sun comes up,
God.
bitch, it's
Listen,
over
I'm gonna
for
be like
you.
the snail, okay? You know what? It might take me a while. I gotta pause at the nighttime, but I will always find you.
snails
No
pause at
matter
nighttime.
where
A
you
famously
are.
known fact about snails. No, the question though, I think, is not would you let Monica turn you into a zombie, but it's would you be
Would
so
you
overcome with
rather-
grief? No, it's would you be so overcome with grief and your love for Monica that you would know it's not that would you let her turn you
Life
into a
isn't
zombie? It's that would you hold her until her dying, gasping breath so you could give her what little comfort you could offer in those moments. And possibly that means accepting your fate. Possibly it means like you don't have the time to think about it. You're just like, my love, I will not let you go into this light alone, etc.
A few extra nice moments for Monica is not worth a lifetime of
Oh my God.
hedonism for me.
So you're
Well-
saying that your life is still worth living if I'm
See,
not in it? I
thank
have
you.
to disagree.
Even on the contrary, even more so.
All right, and that's Adam Drown for you. Signing off the pod. Get out of here.
Will I be invited back?
I'm not sure.
Zombies.
Okay, but that moment is so fucking sad because like, yeah, you look at it on its face and you're like, they've just fought so hard and now he's just like, okay, eat me, bitch, you know? But like they just watched every single one of their best friends get like like eaten in front of them, like their close friends on the baseball team. And then also you got to keep in mind the trauma that he just went through when he had to beat the shit out of his friends as zombies when he went through their train car. Like that scene is so poignant, and that's like one of my favorite scenes where like he completely freezes up. He can't fight his friends. And so like he has to rely completely on buff husband and business daddy like to get through that section. And so it's like he probably at this point he was like, the only bitch I like who's left in the world is Jin Hee. Like there was a moment where they're like, it's you and me. That's it. Like they literally say that exactly to each other. And so then she's gone and he's like, it was us and that's it. And now
What
there's
is there
nothing.
left? What's left?
There's nothing
Yeah.
left.
And even if there is hope left, even if there is something to fight or survive for, can you process that enough in that moment to make that fast of a decision? I think it's also kind of that thing where he was just like frozen again. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Not
Yeah,
so
totally.
frozen that he couldn't go to her, but so frozen that I think even if he was making a conscious decision, it like I don't think he was is what I'm trying to say. But I also want to go back to what you were saying about the car when they have the
Mhm.
baseball bats and they're just absolutely wailing on people.
Yes.
Something that we actually haven't touched on so far this episode that I think is so fascinating to me as an American who is traditionally engaged with American zombie lore is like, this is a zombie movie without any guns,
Love that.
which is fucking wild to me. You know what I mean? Because like,
yes, what a great point.
so much of
Felt so
zombie
good.
lore is like destroy the brain. And first of all, God, these zombies can absolutely take a punch. They can take a wallop in this movie. It doesn't seem to do, it can kind of like fend you off in that it can keep you at a distance as you're continually getting whacked away. But these are not zombies who can be squished. You know what I mean? Like you can't
No.
just bash these zombies' brains like you can a traditional zombie, which I think is what makes them so deadly. Because you can't defeat them, as far as I can tell. They seem to be fairly indestructible. I know in CSI, not that CSI is a zombie show, but when they're talking about head
What?
wounds, I know it's shocking. After Fear, I went
I
in
was
thinking
so
as a zombie
sure that
property.
CSI was a zombie show. That's why I've never watched it.
They probably do one zombie episode or what. Anyway, but they always say like the first hit is free or whatever in that show. Like the first whack of a baseball bat isn't necessarily gonna like crack somebody's skull open. It might still kill you. But your brains aren't gonna go spilling out. There's not any blood the first hit. But these zombies, you just keep hitting them and nothing happens. You know what I mean?
Won't back down. I love that
and
about
so
them.
I wonder how indestructible they are. Like, I guess there probably were some guns. Probably the military had guns.
Yeah.
But so much of zombie property is, and at least in America, is like you literally get your guns and you shoot zombies in the head, and that's the whole fuel of
The whole
zombie
movie.
defense, right?
why I
And
don't
it's
like 'em
so
that much.
interesting to me that it's not even a factor here. Like it doesn't really
Nope.
come into play at all. And I didn't realize that until like halfway through when they were really baseball batting it. And I was like, if this were an American remake, they would pack the whole thing full with guns and people having guns on the train, and that would be stupid.
Yeah, no, I'm really glad that wasn't an aspect of it, because it's just like the hand-to-hand combat is so much more dangerous, right? Because like yeah, they have their arms all taped up and everything, but like that's like there's so many open places where they can still be bit. And I also thought something that was really interesting is that I guess you can only get it from being bit. It has to be that saliva. Are these people now venomous or whatever? And so they have something in them that like goes into your bloodstream because there's zombie blood splashing here and there and everywhere. And that like there's no way none of that got in one of their eyes or in their mouths or something like that. But that
little
doesn't seem
mucus membrane.
to do it. Yeah, the mucus membrane. The zombie coughed on their face and they didn't get it. Like they didn't get zombieism from that. So I guess it's not airborne, but it could be like you would think it's a bloodborne illness, and so getting the blood in them could be something, but no, that's not it. It's just the bite. But it's like I guess not as realistic that they make it through that like 4 train cars fighting them off and nothing. 3, whatever it is.
The 4th is the one that they're in because I was counting them as it went and then I got really confused and then I had to rewind and be like, wait, so if they're on car 9 and Suan and Co are in 13 and then everybody else is gathered in 15, and I had to really break it down for myself because I
2
love
trains
math.
are leaving from separate
Yes,
stations, and
give me a
one is
word problem,
going 40
baby.
miles per hour and another is going but anyway, after all of their fighting and all of the like cool shit where they're like slithering up on the luggage.
Oh, I
That
love
made me be like,
area.
no
That
way,
was
no
so
way. I was like,
spooky.
no way.
No way, like you wouldn't do it, or like you're
I'm not buying it. I don't know why. I'm just not buying it.
Out of
Oh,
sight,
I
out of
love
mind,
that
baby.
part.
They said we are above eye level.
I liked that part a lot. I liked it. You couldn't see. It was dark. Because you see how clouded over their eyes are? Their vision isn't very good. Okay. The zombies, I mean. But yeah, I loved that. And then, I mean, there is just nothing more devastating to me in this movie. And there's many devastating parts. I fucking cried like a baby the first 2 times I watched this movie, by the way. Because what?
Oh, I just was thinking of an emotional part, but sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no, it's okay. Like, you're shocked that I cried? I fucking cried at Hocus
No.
Pocus when Binks died. This is no shock.
No, this was an emotional roller coaster for me.
No, seriously. I mean, the point where they get to the final car and they're at the door to where like the safe haven is, but they can't get in because bitch ass business bastard has decided and convinced all of them, all the other people that are safe, that these people are not, they can't let them in. They could be infected, blah, 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 blah. And he causes so many fucking deaths in this goddamn thing. And the worst of them, besides Jinhee, we love Jinhee. She is that bitch. We already discussed that. It's why did Buff husband have to go? Why?
He's so
Why?
sexy.
He's so sexy. He like puts himself on the line to like keep like push the door closed because basically like a bunch of zombie arms got through a crack in the door. And so he has to push it to keep them from all coming through. And then in the most ridiculous sequence of the entire film, one of the zombies' head is all the way on the ground, and he puts his hand down like near the zombies for 1 second, and the zombie like goes zoop and bites his hand immediately. I thought that was like a little hokey. But I was too busy being devastated immediately afterward to think about it too long. But like you have to watch him like fight it, like trying to like stay a human as long as possible to like protect his wife and his unborn baby. Like fuck me, man. Absolutely not fair.
Yeah, for me
Could have been our final girl.
That part killed me with pregnancy dad, but it was the part with the granny on the phone that really got me.
Oh my god.
When economy dad, what's his name? I was just looking at it. Suk-woo. When he was talking to his mom on the phone, that slayed me. And I was like, how dare this movie do this to me? But then there was this weird moment actually, and I'd like to discuss this in context of the end. So I'm gonna skip to the end a little bit for a second there. But when we see Business Bitch meet his fate, he seems to sort of like get lost in his reality of where he is, and he's like, will you take me to my mom's house? And then when we see our final zombification, if you will, we see that person. I don't know why I'm all of a sudden like, this spoiler I will preserve, but we see them like literally get like memory flashes. And so there's this moment with the granny where she's talking about Suwon, where she's saying like I tried to be good to her, but like she only ever wanted her mom, and then she called her like a bitch or something. And then I was like, okay, that moment helped me actually, because I was about to be like emotionally devastated beyond the point of return. And then that helped me be okay with it in that moment. But like, what was that about?
Yeah, I just think that like I don't understand a couple of these zombifications, if that's the term, and I love it. Because I talked about earlier how like, yeah, maybe they're bit on the hand and so it's taking them longer to like become a zombie, but like why does Business Bastard like resume to a childlike state of innocence for so fucking long, where he's like, mommy, where are you? Like that part was so fucking ridiculous. And then why would Granny like that's so opposite from what happened to Granny, where apparently she like gets filled with unbridled rage right before she becomes a zombie. Like maybe she did actually feel that way, but like the way she was acting in the beginning of the film, she really cares about Suan. She doesn't hate her. She doesn't think she's a bitch. She's a little girl. So like that doesn't feel like true to true to what the granny like actually felt about her granddaughter. So it's just really like inconsistent. They kind of, I love this movie, but I feel like they kind of jumped the shark a couple of times with these like extra emotional scenes that like just kind of took me out of it a little bit. Like it pissed me off when Business Bastard was doing that weird mommy thing. I was just like, why? Like, why? Like, I don't know why. I still don't know why.
I mean, to me, it makes sense in that like people experiencing dementia can have really volatile mood swings sometimes, because sometimes you're trying to like cover up for when you can't remember something, and sometimes your more recent memories are often the first ones to go. So if he's remembering being young and being vulnerable, he's kind of like lost all of that character development over the rest of the course of his life. So it makes sense to me why he would be like young and childlike. It doesn't super make sense to me why the grandma would be a bitch, but also
Yeah.
my grandma was sometimes a bitch when she was losing her memory, and was like extra mean sometimes in a way that I don't know that she would have been if she'd been like had full access to all the parts of her brain. You know what I mean? So like I think it's like as the brain is degrading, it's not reliable.
I think particularly for that one, it was more of like a narrative device than something that necessarily makes sense with the lore that they set up with their zombies, their version of zombies. I think that was so early in the film. It was supposed to be there to be like, what the fuck is going on? This is terrifying. Like something's happened to Granny, you know? And you know she's becoming a zombie, but like he's not totally sure what's happening because it's still pretty early on. So I think it was more to be like a scare tactic, like, oh, Granny's being really weird and scary and angry, and now she's hung up the phone, you know, adding that
That's
mystery
true.
to it. I think that was kind of why, which is
'Cause that's,
annoying
like,
because
right
I want it to
after-
make sense.
That was like right after the newspaper part where
Yeah.
they had just figured out how to like get the zombies to stop attacking the car that they were in. They had like just first cordoned
It's
themselves
very, very,
zombies.
very early. But yeah, I mean, we can't go through every point in the movie because this was a really fucking long one. But like the long and the short of it is that Business Bastard fucks everyone over, makes our favorite group, small group of people, what's left of them. So Baseball Boy, Jinhee willingly goes with this group. He
they got
basically
separated.
Yeah, they had gotten separated. Jinhee had gotten separated from Baseball Boy. And that's why they knew to go to that specific car because Jinhee was like, come here because it's safe. But then they finally make it into that car where it's safe. And they had to break through the glass because Business Bastard wouldn't let them in. And it caused the death of our beloved buff husband.
Never forget. Never forgive.
Never forget buff husband. But then and I felt like a bitch for thinking this, but then they get their comeuppance because there's this horrible moment where the entire train car turns on our 5 fave heroes. I don't know if it's 5. And ostracizes them and makes them move to the next car and forces them out. And literally 5 seconds later, they all get eaten to shit. They all get turned into zombies.
Because
and
the
I was
grannies,
karma's a bitch, motherfucker.
Because one granny, the nice, quote unquote, nice granny who'd been like, don't talk about re-educating people rioting against the government or whatever.
Yeah, the older sister.
That granny was with the crew, and then the wig granny who had the very curly hair was in car 15 with Business Bitch and Co. And the other granny sacrificed herself essentially like Pregnancy Dad to hold everyone off so that the rest of their crew could, she kind of held back for a moment. It wasn't as dramatic, but it definitely seemed to me to be a choice where she was like, don't try to save me. And then that's when the other granny...
she was just stuck behind them and she was about to walk through when she looks and sees her sister and smiles like, oh my God, you're here. She's about to walk through. And right then the zombies catch up behind them. She wasn't holding the zombies back. The zombies were being held back by Buff husband. Excuse me, gotta keep my nickname straight. By Buff husband, but then he turns into the zombie. So all of the zombies come forward and they're just walking in to the room where it's safe and they don't get in. She doesn't get in time. She's the only one who doesn't get in time.
Okay, I'd have to look at that scene again and revisit it because it seemed to me that it's not that she was sacrificing herself exactly so much as she was don't try to save me because there's not time. You guys get in.
Yeah, first. She wasn't prioritizing herself for sure. She definitely was going through the door last. She was letting everyone go in before her because you can only go in single file. So that for sure. But yeah,
right, because then that other granny has that quote where she basically is like, you chose this, you did this, why'd you do that? That was stupid. I wish you hadn't. And then she's like, well, do you know what? You had to make that choice because these people are being bitches. So do you know what happens to bitches? They get turned into zombies. And she goes and she just opens that door and says, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck everybody in this car. You guys can all die.
Yeah, I also read this article it was more like she was committing suicide and that there was all these statistics about how South Korea has an insanely high life expectancy. It's almost 90 for women. And so there are a shit ton of old people in South Korea because people are living very long lives, which is great, but they don't have the infrastructure to help out older people. They're not they don't have a lot of jobs. And so there's a lot of older people who are living in extreme poverty. And so the rate of suicide in elders has gone up quite a bit in the last 10 years. So that's part of an article that I read. And I was like, oh, love this context for the granny part of the film. Oh, very upsetting, deeply upsetting.
I hate that. Hate that.
Yeah, I hated it too.
I like my version better, I think. That one is sad and mine is petty, and I love to be petty.
I want it to be the petty version too. But yeah, then we get into our final chapter, excuse me, where they get to Busan, essentially almost to Busan. They're not to Busan yet, but they have to stop the train because there's another train on the tracks. So they have to leave their train and go to a new train. And our lovely cutie baby train conductor, who has been such a champ throughout everything, like
Yes,
goes out
trying to
on
help
his...
people every time. Is
He
always like,
is.
okay, business bitch, we'll keep the train going, but let me tell everybody else that we're going to keep the train going too.
Yeah. So he's like looking out for everyone. And so I get extra pissed when he eventually dies, because who doesn't die in this film?
Yeah.
Two people actually. uh, but
Well,
yeah,
two-ish.
Ish.
two.
It's like 2 and a quarter.
2 and an inch. But yeah, so the next sequence of events is absolutely fucking insane. You get a runaway train that's lit on fire that comes flying down the tracks, explodes all the train cars. A train car falls on top of some of our heroes. They're trapped underneath a train car. There's glass above them and 5 billion zombies right on the other side of the glass. Like, it doesn't get more dramatic than this. And it's fucking incredible. It's amazing.
Will say though, there was a moment right before that I loved, where the conductor says to them basically like, we're gonna wait here for the rescue team, or we're gonna disembark for another train. He says, or disembarking for another train to Busan. And I was like, what if the movie just ended here and then you had to wait for the sequel, which was another train to Busan? It's just like, we have to wait for the next train to Busan.
And then it just like ends and it says stay tuned for whoosh,
Right.
Train to Busan 2 coming to theaters in 2022.
Yes, exactly.
I would have
I just gave myself a little giggle. It helped me get through the rest of the film.
I would have thrown my television on the ground. So
it just stops there. You have to wait for the sequel.
fucking hell. And it would have been a long wait too, because the sequel is coming out. And
Didn't it come out in 2020?
Oh,
Yeah.
Peninsula? Is
Yeah,
that the
it already
sequel?
came out.
I'm
But
sorry.
it's
I was
like-
thinking of the remake, which I am not excited
How are they
for.
going to do that in America? What
It's going to be
what
terrible.
train
It's going to
do
be
we
so
have
bad.
here in America?
We have
Oh,
lots
let me
of
take
trains,
the
Sydney.
Amtrak. So reliable, so
Right.
speedy. Yeah, I don't think so.
Maybe it's in the future where we finally get that, like, what is it? Super
Our
speed
high-speed
train?
rail.
High speed rail.
Yeah,
Super
right.
speed train. High speed
I'm
rail
not
sounds
buying
so
it.
much sexier. Anyway,
But yeah,
this is also the part where we get Business Bastard doing his most business bastard shit. He just literally goes and lets everyone die, throws people directly into
He
zombies' mouths, essentially.
full human shield moment where he's like,
He goes feral.
He tries to be like, you go first, like you train attendant go out of the bathroom first, and then you'll get to safety. And then he literally just like shoves him into, like, he's such a bitch.
He's such a bitch. I fucking hate him. And then he also gets our beautiful train conductor killed too. The train conductor finds a train, jumps off of that train because he sees Business Bastard running with like literally a horde of 10 billion zombies
And
coming
roll his
after him.
ankle. If
And-
anybody
then he
ever
breaks his
deserved to
fucking
roll
ankle.
their fucking ankle in a movie, it's this guy. And
I
he
know.
still gets help. The conductor still comes over to help him hobble over, and God.
And then he
it's so
throws the
unfair.
conductor at a zombie. I'm like, that is a man who knows how to operate a train. Do you know how to operate a train? Maybe you can figure it out, but you're not a professional. You are a fucking idiot. I hate him so much. Oh my God. Oh, but like it leads to our final, what is it? Our final 3 that we like. So Economy Daddy, Pregnant Lady, and Sue Ann make it onto this tiny train, and they think they're on there alone. And this is the part where we get Business Bastard being a little
Baby bitch.
baby for a second. He's always been a baby bitch, so I guess this is him like really coming into it, like really leaning in, and
owning
like I
his
love that for
moment.
him. He's owning himself. He's coming into his own. And it's a really great girl boss moment. No, I hate him so much. And then we get a whole horrible action sequence of Economy Daddy fighting him. And then we get the scene that makes me the most mad in my entire life. And we can't get mad at Economy Daddy. He's doing his best. but he does put his hand
Yeah.
onto the mouth of a zombie in order to protect his daughter and the pregnant lady. But like,
right. And
bad placement.
obviously the reaction is like, you stupid little bitch, why would you ever possibly put any body part near a zombie's mouth? That is the gateway to becoming a zombie immediately. Yes. But also then I recontextualized it in my brain as like, he's covering up the dangerous part of the zombie as the zombie faces his daughter, you know what I mean? So like, in a way, it's the worst thing he could do for himself, but it's maybe the best thing he could do for his daughter. And his whole thing the whole time had been like, you gotta watch out for yourself. And he tells Suan, you gotta watch out for yourself. And she says basically like, mommy said that's not the way to go through this life. And mommy said that's why she left you, because you're like that.
She literally says that to him.
It's such a burn. But yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ. But his kind of cause for continuing on this whole time hasn't been himself, it's been his daughter. And so it's also this like heartbreaking moment. So many of the moral questions in this movie are so complicated because there's not really time to make decisions a lot of the time. No. But it's like you have to work together as a group to be as successful as you can be, but also at what point do you make hard decisions that are possibly morally, ethically wrong if it saves somebody that you love, and can you make that decision fast, blah blah blah. Thankfully he doesn't get put in too many situations where it really comes down to it in those terms. But yeah, I mean, clapping his hand over a zombie mouth, I was like, you stupid bitch, why would you do that? And then I was like, in a way, it's not a sacrifice necessarily, but it's like, that's the ultimate protection he can offer in that moment.
No, and it does, like, reading it that way, it's like, oh, this is like him showing that he learned the lesson that everyone was trying to teach him this entire journey, this entire train ride. It's just like, protect others, it's worth it, you know. So I guess that's it coming full circle. But I would say that the next 4 or 5 minutes of the movie were utter agony to behold. You have to watch him say goodbye to Suan, and she is such a fucking great little actress. She's just screaming at the top of her fucking lungs, sobbing. I am sobbing with the same intensity sitting on my bed when I watched this at like 6 a.m. on Monday. And then we get the strangest part of the film. Number one, I love this actor, and I think that he is incredibly handsome, incredibly talented. His acting crying, is insane.
Not good.
It took me out of it. I was like, wow, well, this is like, he's literally like, like, that's literally how he's crying, which is like, that's big great.
Boo-hoos,
and sometimes
doing some big boo-hoos.
Sometimes I've cried in that way, you know. Sometimes it sounds fake when you're that upset. And he has every reason to be that upset. And then we get the really fun dream sequence, which, like, okay, like, this is fucked up because it's obviously like a beautiful moment. It's a moment of him remembering the first time he ever held his daughter. And he's all in white. Everything's in white around him. It's beautiful, whatever. Did it remind me of the dream sequence in Harry Potter when he sees the baby Voldemort?
No.
Yes.
Oh my God, not another
Yes,
Harry
it
Potter
did.
episode.
Yes,
we
it
just
did.
did a Harry Potter episode.
Yes, it did remind me of that.
Clear
It reminded me of
reference.
that so much. And I thought both of those scenes were fucking ridiculous. The Harry Potter one and this one. Like, I remember when I saw that part of the movie, I was like, this shit has jumped the shark, like, in Harry Potter. And then I watched this and I was like, how did this beautifully crafted film go to this place? But, you know, was I still crying? Of course. Of course.
Here's the thing. With this moment, when he is, in a sense, at this point, like, Suan is inside with pregnancy mom, and economy dad is outside, and so he's not like looking at her.
By the way, pregnancy mom's name is Sung Kyung. That's
Thank
her
you. I
name.
was
We've
gonna
not
look it up
said
in
it
the
the
middle. I
entire
think we
time,
might
and
have said.
so
Oh, have we not? Not once.
we've not said it the entire time. So I just
Oh.
wanted to say it one time.
Okay, for the record. But they're inside. He's not looking at them. He's looking away from them. But in that moment, I kept being like, she needs to sing her song for him. Like he needs to ask her to sing the song while she still has that moment. And then I learned why that moment didn't exist in that place. And it's because they saved it for a more effective are you
I'm
okay?
not crying. I'm not crying. I'm thinking about crying.
I'm just considering it.
I'm not crying. I'm just thinking about it. I'm not
But
gonna
yeah,
do
I
it,
mean,
girl. I'm just thinking
okay,
about
so
it.
I kept being like, why isn't he asking her to sing the song? Like I really wanted it in that moment. And then it doesn't happen before he lets himself tumble off the back of the train, rip. And then they're walking, the train stops eventually, and it kind of just like slows to a stop at the perfect moment, I guess.
No, he teaches her how
Oh
to
yeah, he
stop
says pull a
the
stop,
train.
whatever.
Yeah.
Well, she's good at it, so good for her.
Yeah, she's a quick learner.
So, and then they're going down the tunnel, and I was like, I swear to God, if the movie ends with them being shot by the military, I'm gonna commit a crime. And it didn't, only because Suan started singing her song. And it was enough for the military guys on the other side of the Busan tunnel to be like, they're real people. They're real people. And so I was like, okay, that was the perfect use of the song. And so they needed to pack some other kind of emotional punch in
This
that
was
moment
so
of
fucking devastating.
Economy Dad Sukwoo's final moments. They needed to make it punchier in some other way, but I don't know that they made the right choice.
Yeah, I don't know if they needed to do the whole like all in white flashback scene. But like that final scene is so well done. It's so well done. Like you think you're so anxious because you're like, after all of this, they're gonna die too. Like they're in the sights of the military because the pregnancy mom is limping, you know, because she's been through it and she's pregnant as fuck, you know, so she's kind of given that classic zombie swagger. And so they think that they're zombies, but then little Suan sings Aloha Oi song. Like I love that song also, and it's like until we meet again. And it's just, I was just thinking, like, she said that she couldn't sing her song because her dad wasn't there and she knew that he wasn't there. And so she didn't have the confidence to do it. And he had said that whole thing like, oh, I'm always with you, even when I'm not there. I'm always watching you or whatever. And that was so cringe at the time, like you said. But like now it's like he's there with her in spirit. And that's why she could do it. And that's why she could sing the song. Oh my God. I cried so hard.
Yeah, I mean, there's the conversation in the beginning where he's like, I'm always watching even when I'm not there, because she's like, you weren't even there. And then the moment where she's like, I couldn't sing because you weren't there, like absolutely destroyed me when it comes later in the film and they like revisit that conversation. It's like so emotionally brutal. I think I wrote in my notes, I wrote the quote, I practiced that song just for you, and I put with a bunch of H's, and then the quote, that's why I couldn't sing, an even longer and then because I didn't see you, an even longer and then she's like, will you stay with me? And I was just like, no, like, God, it absolutely like cut me to my core. And it's just to bring it back in that moment, I thought was cruel.
Stunning.
And perfect.
It was perfect. It was the perfect end to a fucking wild ride of a movie. So that brings us to the age-old question. How could it be gayer?
I've got one.
Okay.
I've got one way, and I've been waiting to discuss it this whole time.
Yeah.
Okay, so the dads kind of they're butting heads at first, and then at some point they start to sort of develop some dad bonding. And there was one line in particular where pregnancy dad, whose name is Songhwa, says, yo, jerk, felt good seeing your kid thanks to me. You grateful or what? And I wrote in my notes, is this flirting or being mean? I can't tell.
Both.
And then economy dad Suk Woo says, "Why is your ringtone so tacky?" And I was like, "Okay, this is flirting. They're flirting.
They're mean flirting. I love
That
that.
is classic. Yeah,
I would read that fan fiction 100%. I will read that fan fiction actually. But also Chelsea, there's that other one that you said.
No, don't you?
Chelsea thought
Yeah.
that the old ladies who are sisters were actually lesbian lovers.
How was I? I didn't think they were actually lesbian lovers in the sense that, like, I didn't think we were supposed to know from the film that they were a couple. But then at the end, I thought it was like, oh, how you have an aunt and like your aunt's friend that's always lived with her. And you're always just like, yeah, that's my aunt's roommate, her best friend. They live together. They're just best friends forever. And they're old ladies who are best friends. And then eventually you turn 40 and at some point your parent is like, no, they were gay. Like, I thought that was what the situation was going to be. Like, we realized in their final goodbye. But I won't let you shame me for this because you thought the 47 meters down sisters were gay. So
for like 2 seconds, and then they say we're sisters, and I paid attention to that. You watched the entire movie where they said my sister, my sister, my sister, my sister.
I
like
don't remember them saying my sister once. And you brought
They
up
do.
the you're older than me thing, and that I thought was just like playful teasing.
They said
I thought
sister.
they were friends at that point.
They
And I
said
was like,
sister,
how sweet that
baby.
she
They said
hard-boiled
sister.
an egg and then peeled a hard-boiled egg for her friend.
It's
That's
okay,
nice.
Chelsea. You can miss one thing. It's fine.
I would never dare to miss a detail in a movie. How dare you?
But yeah, I feel like that pretty much covers it. I mean, who knows what will happen when Suan grows up? Too early to tell, but there's always potential there as well.
Some of those baseball boys, I know in my heart were
Ooh.
bisexual.
Oh, yeah.
I could feel that. Oh, gone too soon. Poor babies. They're all so cute. Okay, well then that begs the question, where would Matthew Lillard fit into this film? And like, if there's ever one where we just let him sit out, this is the one.
Yeah, I mean, there have been many a movie where we're like, thank you so much for your contributions to cinema, Matthew Lillard. You have a nice little vacation this time.
Yeah, you're good.
And
You're good.
I think, especially when it comes to a film like this, we talked about it last one for As Above, So Below with the found footage aspect. This is even more. I hope you enjoy your vacation, Matthew Lillard.
Yes, and enjoy your well-earned.
I don't know.
off.
He could just be like a street zombie, real quick, just like a random zombie that they happen to show. Just a flick.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
would
I mean, if
stand
he
out,
ever
too.
wants to be involved with a project, we'll find a spot for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We'll
put him on the TV or
like,
something.
he could-
He's one of the helicopter
That's
zombies.
what I'm saying. He could be one of the helicopter zombies that
He's
gets
the
dropped
kid-
on the skater boy, and that would be a great.
Yeah, he's
cameo for
the
me.
skater boy.
He's the deer in
Right?
the beginning. We put
He's
him in
the
a
deer
deer
in the
costume.
beginning. He could do that. He's a great
He's so
character actor.
talented.
He could do that if anyone could. Okay, so that brings us to the age-old question: who's the dumb bitch? And like, if we're not unanimous, I mean, there's a lot of people who are dumb bitches here, but I feel like there's one who's
No,
a step above the
it's
rest.
obvious who's the bitchiest and the dumbest of them all.
It's Business Bastard, aka Jan Suk. He sucks so bad. He is the worst person ever, maybe. Like, he sucks. Oh, I hate him. I wish his death had been more grisly. I guess it was like embarrassing because he did some baby talk, and we talked about that already. But like, I wish the zombies had ripped him limb from limb. Like, there could have been more blood.
Yeah, I think in a way, I wonder if that moment was supposed to like humanize him a little bit and be like,
Didn't
bad
work on
people
me.
are still people. Not to say that we should mourn his loss, but that we should realize that like bad people are just as human as all of the rest of us and just as vulnerable as all of the rest of us. And perhaps we shouldn't hold up bad people as just like, well, they're just bad and they're not like me, but to say that anyone could be bad if we don't stop ourselves from being bad, maybe. And at heart, we're all small children and you got to just follow the right path, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But
Yeah. It didn't work on
I
me.
wanted to I wanted him to get eaten the second that I wanted him to get eaten the second that he was like, study hard and you won't end up unsheltered because fuck off. But and also don't ruffle the hair of small children that you don't know. Don't touch her. Leave her alone.
Don't touch Suan's hair. It looks lovely already.
Do not touch her. But yeah, he rolled his ankle and I really thought that was going to be his moment. And I really wanted it to be his moment, that it was his own undoing when he was by himself, when he was abandoning everyone and had used up the last of his human shields. I wanted him to get got, and I thought that would have been a fitting end, and it unfortunately was not his end.
I know. I was like, he's already caused so much destruction. You're going to let him do more? I was like, cut it off. Cut it off. And by it, I mean his head. I hate him so much.
Yeah, I do think it is appropriate that our two survivors are the two characters who specifically had been like rejecting the narrative. They didn't need to learn. They didn't need any persuading. They didn't need anybody to ever suggest to them. They were the two characters explicitly who at every opportunity were like, we need to help the people around us.
They had been good people.
Right, because
No
like
growth
rugged
necessary.
individualism might get you to the last few moments of the film, but like, will it carry you over the finish line, or will being a good person, helping those around you, knowing the value of every human life, be ultimately blah blah blah, whatever, blah blah blah.
What a beautiful moral.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I kind of lost my steam. You get the idea.
No, we got there. It was there.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
We've
Tyler Bow
done
on
a lot
top.
of discourse, etc.
Altruism, something.
Yeah. You have
Yeah.
morality, whatever's.
Morality, the greater good. Okay, that brings us to our knives out of fives. So,
Okay,
what do people think?
This movie was pretty well received on Rotten Tomatoes. For some reason, IMDb was a little lower. And actually, I didn't talk about trivia much this episode, but I will share. I think this was perhaps in the goofs section. I looked at the goofs section this time as well, and somebody had written, it's shown late in the movie that the toilet opposite the pregnant woman wasn't locked. Suan never needed to walk to the end of the train. Her entire plot was pointless. And you know how you can like rank things interesting or not interesting on IMDb?
Yeah.
It said 0 of 7 found this interesting. So all 7 people who looked at this said, fuck you. So clearly there are some haters on IMDb though. So keep in mind that haters influenced this rating when I tell you that on IMDb, this movie has a 7.6 out of 10. On Rotten Tomatoes, however, it has 94% fresh from critics and 89% fresh from audiences. So much higher on Rotten Tomatoes than on IMDb, where that one person was like, this was pointless. And it's like, shut up. Enjoy the film.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, someone who's not me, go first, because you know I'm just going to sing its praises.
I don't know what to rank this because it was good. I like it. I will never watch this movie ever again. I am not Monica. I will not see this 3 times. Like, I saw it, I cried. I felt, a trainload of emotions with this movie. It is not a 3.5 because it is good, but like, it's got to be at least a 4. Come on.
I tried to influence her previously. It is very hard to do, Monica. I will warn you in terms of getting emotionally invested in somebody else's knives.
Chelsea, you know how me and Sydney fight.
It is a 4, but I'm like, I gave the last 2 movies 4, and I don't know, like, so.
Don't let that influence. Each movie is different.
Everything exists in its own little bubble.
Your rating exists in the vacuum of this film.
If I take into account what I gave the Conjuring movies, it's gonna throw everything else out of whack. I have to treat each one individually, like it's its own precious little baby.
I'll give this one a 4 out of 5. I liked it. I'll never watch it again.
Woo! Amazing. I mean, for me, for most movies, I never plan on, like, for horror movies, it depends. It has to be a certain type of horror movie for me to want to watch it again, because most of the time, like once the surprise is done, then it doesn't pack that same punch for me. So I'm not a big rewatcher in general, unless it's like
Mhm.
something that's got that extra little in it, little camp, a little whatever.
Unless it's got a yay go gay in there.
Whatever Scream has, unless it has that.
You mean Matthew Lillard?
Whatever House of Wax has, unless it
Chad
has
Michael
that.
Murray? Paris Hilton?
That's it. It's Chad Michael Murray. Unless it has Chad Michael
Unless
Murray.
it has intense sibling sexual chemistry, we're not rewatching it again.
Yeah, if there's not incest vibes, then I'm not watching it again. Except for this movie, apparently. Chelsea, do you want me to go next, or do you want me to go?
Go. I really liked this movie. For me, my interest in zombie movies, in terms of this being a zombie movie, my knives out of 5 is like would be lower than taking this as like a general horror survival emotional journey of a movie. Because from a zombie perspective, I feel like things are still pretty fucking grim at the end. So I don't feel great about their chances of survival, even though the movie ended on a somewhat hopeful tone for them. And if I think about that too much, I will feel overwhelming dread. And that will impact my ability to rate this fairly. In terms of being an emotional movie, it got me at a lot of different parts. Like, I don't know that there was a moment that I was like scared exactly, other than this is like a scary movie, but I didn't get like any jumps or anything like that. Although I don't really need those, but I did think the way that they did like the physicality of the zombies was super interesting.
Yeah.
I thought they had a lot of moments where the cinematography was really incredible. I liked when the like burning train was like flipping through the air. I liked when we could see the moments where it was like this sudden explosion of the zombies, as like the pressure building up with all of the zombies pushing was like too great. I thought the helicopter shot was pretty crazy. I thought for the most part the way that they told the story and pinned the story together, and the like artistic perspective of it was pretty great. That said, if I do get lost in the details of like that final Dumbledore King's Crossing whiteout moment or whatever, you're right, it's fucking weird.
Yeah.
But if I pretend that didn't exist, I don't really have any notes. Like, I'm okay with any zombie inconsistencies. I'm okay with things not necessarily like running perfectly or whatever. Like, a lot of the IMDb goofs were like, trains don't keep running if somebody isn't actively conducting them. There are fail safes, blah blah blah. But I'm like, whatever, it's a movie. So things like that, it didn't bother me at all here in the way it might bother me in a different movie, because like that was not the point.
Yeah.
So I would say I would probably give this movie like a 4.8 knives out of 5s.
Yeah, that's like exactly where I'm at with it too. That's exactly where I was thinking of doing 4.8 as well. Because like I love this movie so much. I like you just said, for me, this movie is like about the characters. It's about the emotions of it.
Mhm.
It's like, yeah, it's a zombie movie, but like I could fucking care less about like the fact that it's a zombie movie. Like it just made me like feel things, just like Hocus Pocus. I had the full range of emotions in this film. I laughed, I hysterically cried like a freak. And I also was like very, very anxious and stressed out a lot. I think they did a really good job of building tension in this movie. I think like we talked about earlier, like the way they like unfolded the outbreak, I thought that was really brilliant. There are just so many like brilliantly done points in this film. There are a couple moments where I was like, what are you doing? But that's fine. It gives it a little bit of quirky character. It's camp. It's not. But like it's camp. And like even the ridiculous sobbing from our main character, like it adds to it. A value add, not a detractor. But I mean, it's almost a perfect film. Okay, I'm actually gonna give it a 4.9. Because I really like this movie a lot. And one day I want to find a way for me. Oh, maybe I can do that thing. There's a new thing on the iPhone where if you take a picture of something, you can copy and paste the text that's on a picture now. I don't know if you've seen this. It's crazy. So maybe I can take a picture of the text that is in Korean that I could not read and copy and paste it and put it in a translator and find out, because I really wish I could have that full experience. And it is really like, I wish that I magically knew how to speak Korean and understand it so I could get the full experience, because I know that I'm only getting a partial experience of this.
I think I might have friends who speak Korean, or I definitely at least have one friend who's learning Korean. So maybe I can send it to them and they'll at least know how to access the Korean characters on their phone enough to type it all into Google Translate if I buy them a cookie or something.
I would love to have the full
I
experience.
would love to know. You're right. I would love to know.
I don't think it's not something that I have the skills to be able to fully be there for, but yeah, it's just, this movie is a blessing. So 4.9 knives out of 5s. That's where I'm at with it.
So that, like we mentioned earlier, we do actually have a Thanksgiving episode next week. We're doing something.
It's Thanksgiving 3. No.
Thanksgiving 3 in space. No, actually, I think Thanksgiving 2 is in space, but
there's no Thanksgiving 2. It just goes straight to Thanksgiving 3.
Oh, you're right. Oh my God, excuse me. How stupid did I sound for
So
a second
stupid.
there?
Wow.
But our new Thanksgiving episode is part of a grand tradition that Sydney has done. Would you like to introduce it, my love?
We at the Thompson household, which is just me forcing everybody to do it because I think it is so funny, but I love it, is on Thanksgiving Day, where we're like making food and like getting ready for dinner, we watch Tom Hanks movies. And so we have T Hanksgiving. And I want to keep that tradition alive.
Thanks.
And so we're doing the 1989 black comedy The Burbs, which Monica and Chelsea have never seen.
I'm so excited. No, I've never seen it.
Had literally never even heard of it until Sydney was like, "Can we do this for Thanksgiving?"
Adam
and then I was like, "Is that a scary movie?" But she says it's black comedy, which we explicitly say in our intro as a category that we cover. So fair enough.
We had this argument, and I was ready. I was prepared. I was like, "Here's my argument."
The source material.
I know that it's a spooky movie in whatever sense, because many a time I've been like, I want to watch a spooky movie tonight, and Adam's been like, we should watch The Burbs, and then we try to freaking find it on streaming and we've had a hard time. So finally we will figure it out, and we will find out where to watch it, because we'll
go to the last Blockbuster. We're gonna do a little travel for the holidays.
Oregon to go to the last Blockbuster. But yeah, I'm really excited for this one. And thank you so much, Sydney, for sharing your family tradition with us of forcing us to watch a Tom
Which
Hanks
is what
movie.
I do to my family. So again,
all of the Spooky Tuesday family.
Which is exactly what I do with my family. I force them to watch these things, and therefore it's a tradition.
Honestly, you could have done Castaway. That's a horror film.
Oh my God, that's a Fifth Tuesday. That's going on the Fifth Tuesday list.
Oh yeah, that fucked me up as a kid.
I've never seen it.
If Thanksgiving is ever on the Fifth Tuesday,
no, that's never.
I don't think it can. It never will happen.
If could Thanksgiving ever be the week of the Fifth Tuesday?
I don't think so.
How does Thanksgiving
it's always
work?
the third week in
the
Thanksgiving.
The last.
It's the third or
last
the fourth?
Thursday of the month.
How does Thanksgiving work?
The last.
Oh, it's really last
Thursday of the month.
That true.
That's why it's called Thanksgiving, because it's on Thursday. You didn't know that? Wow.
It's okay. I just feel like this is a how do candles work Google
this
search
is the
moment.
same thing
How
about
does
us with daylight savings time a couple episodes ago.
I was right though. daylight savings time ended and it got dark at night, and this is when we don't like it. So could I explain it to you? No, but was I right? Yes, obviously, always
Oh
am.
my fucking god. Anyway, forget about moving on from that.
Last Thursday of the month. Oh, she was right.
Aren't you feeling thankful right now? Please let me start the credits.
Wait, just Thanksgiving had been celebrated on the last Thursday of the month since the time of Abraham Lincoln, but then in 1941, Roosevelt made the final permanent change as he signed a bill making Thanksgiving Day fall on the fourth Thursday of November, regardless of if it's the last Thursday of the month or not. You can cut this all out, but I needed to share it with you. I'm so sorry.
I'll have you know that my
can
audio
keep
cut
it.
out again for the entirety of you saying that. And so I didn't hear it. And so
Would
I'm sorry.
you
Nope.
like that information? Okay.
Aren't you feeling thankful after all this Thanksgiving talk? I certainly am. What's a great way to show your thanks to us, Spooky Tuesday? Well, there's no better way than a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Podchaser. I've been thinking about that for like a really long time, so I just need to get it out. I was like a perfect segue. And why not continue sharing the love, shedding the love, even by following us. Shed some love upon us by following us on social media at spooky_Tuesday on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. I think that's it. And then at Spooky Tuesday on Facebook and Tumblr. And finally, follow us on Letterboxd. We are up to date with all of our reviews. So if you want to remember our knives out of fives, well, just peruse all almost 60 episodes. Thanks for listening.
Bye, Spookies.
Spooky Tuesday was created by Monica Height, Sydney Thompson, and Chelsea Duff, and edited by Sydney Thompson. Our gorgeously spooky tunes are all thanks to Tamara Simons, who you can follow on Instagram at Captain Tamara, and our podcast art is by Mary Murphy, who you can find on Instagram at the_moon_OMG.